Welcome to my channel, and let's talk about my coloring June. In June I finally returned home. I hoped that when I return home I will be coloring like crazy, that I will be very happy to reunite with all my art supplies, all my books. But the end of the June was a very difficult, very challenging in moral aspect. Every day we got news about new and new civilian victims. Every day shelling of Kharkiv, Nikolaev, Kremenchuk city, and every day we have new victims. And of course, it's absolutely impossible to concentrate on anything apart from your everyday life, trying to live something resembling normal life, and on the news, trying to check on all your acquaintances, all your friends. But well, what can we say? We try to stay active, we try to stay creative, all our Ukrainian coloring community. We try to show that they can't break us. So in June I did not many works, but there are some pictures of which I am really very proud of. Let's start from something very simple. In May I started to color small pictures from Korean coloring book The Day We Finally Met, and I selected pictures from the very beginning of the book, which are illustrations to the lullaby Hush Little Baby. In May I did several pictures, and in the beginning of June I did another part of this rhymes. So here we have Mama's going to buy you a card and ball. Here we have the second part of the spread, so I used similar colors for the dandelions, for the grass, for the green parts. Here I tested how Arteza pencils behave on this paper. They feel a little bit waxy, but as I love Arteza's greens, I definitely intend to use them more. The rest is colored with a mix of polychromos and Prismacolor pencils. I think that all pencils behave quite well on this paper. I don't have strong preferences. I simply think about which color palette I need and then I select pencil brand. So paper is good for all pencils. Well, I was thinking about doing the rest of the illustrations, but as I said, in the end of the month my speed of coloring was quite slow. But I tried to use not only pencils but also more of watercolor paints, especially now when I have back my books and sets of postcards printed on watercolor paper. So of course I was happy to have back my Karolina Kubikovska set of postcards into the forest. And I already did a lot of pictures here. In June I did this one. Somehow it reminded me about quite famous book. The book is by Australian author Colin McCallum. The name of the book is The Thorn Birds. I will put you a name on the screen with my pronunciation. It would be better. And I think that everyone knows the film which was created after this book. And in that book it was mentioned this beautiful legend about birds which can sing only once in their life when they found the longest thorns, and when the thorn is going into their breath, it's the last breath and their last song, but the most beautiful in the world. You can see that I tried to add this dramatic look to this page. I don't know why I was inspired. Maybe something in her face, in her eyes. It allows me to think about more deep story behind this picture, and that's why I used the same bloody red and orange colors for the berries and for the feathers on her neck and on her breast. Also I added those drops of red watercolors, which also for me reminded a little bit about blood. Well, the rest of the pictures which I made in June, they are not as sinister. I really try not to put any of my bad thoughts into my pictures. Sometimes I really want to color something dark and sinister, but I don't want to save it in the future for in my books. So I really try to color only when I'm in relatively nice spirit, but sometimes it's really complicated. Another one which I did using mix of watercolors, obviously for the background, and pencils, it's this spirit of the forest. Nothing very complicated. As usual, I really love how my Derwent drawing pencils behave on this paper. I really started to appreciate them for everything. For each picture when you need to color fur or feathers. So here I use them on the part of the body which is uh, covered by fur, and I think that for the leaves I used Prismacolors or polychromases. So again, this paper is good for each and every coloring medium, and that's why I absolutely love this set. Maybe one day I even managed to finish this set. And finally, I did this protector of the city. I don't know, maybe this was my favorite among the three. I started with Blue Lake watercolor background together with a little bit of lighter royal blue in the middle. Then I switched to pencils and I did again feathers. I really tried to show a little bit of a light halo above around the tiny city here, and the same light reflecting on the longest feathers on the wings. I hope that you are able to see it. At least that was my idea, and a little bit of clouds around the base of this island. So it was nice to color them. They are small, they are quick to color, and again I appreciate this possibility to color more with watercolors. In June we had a very nice Ukrainian challenge to color sunflowers for Ukraine. You know probably that sunflowers are one of the emblems of Ukraine, together with Gelder rose, red Gelder rose. It's beautiful bush with white flowers and bright red berries. So together sunflowers and those berries which we call Alena in Ukrainian, they are two symbols of Ukraine. And on Instagram we had this beautiful challenge. Thank you to everyone who participated. Thanks to the girls who organized this challenge. You can go to Instagram and using hashtag color sunflowers for Ukraine, you will be able to see many beautiful pictures. I also wanted to participate, so I used Luna by Maria Trolle. Finally, I found how this book can be useful in my coloring. You know that it's a rare guest on my coloring table, but this picture it was perfect for my purposes because I was able to color sunflowers. I was able to do this red Kalina berries, and I even put her on her our traditional embroidery dress, white with a little bit of red and black embroidery ornament. So I was quite happy when I did this one. As usual, I struggled with the background, and I can say that I love everything here, but I was just happy to participate and to color sunflowers. I already colored almost all my sunflowers pictures in April and May, so another one, it was quite helpful. Second sunflower pictures I love much more. With each new picture which I color in mythographic books, I think that I become more and more fan of this series, and I definitely intend to collect all the books which will be published in the future, especially now when they don't have hidden objects. So in mythographic by Fabiana Attanasio, it's Paradise, I did another page with sunflowers. Here I used a lot of watercolors for the space sky, for the first layer on the leaves and flowers, and even on the wood. Then I switched to pencils to add more texture to the wood, to intensify shadows, to color areas where I missed some parts with brush, and then with pencils also I did all those planets. I really love this one. I absolutely love how all those yellow orange colors look together with deep industrial blue here. And of course I was happy to color another one of the space backgrounds. I think that I did already a lot of pictures with such space colors, space backgrounds, but each time I tried to test something new. Here I added more of quinacridone purple together with a couple of blue shades, so my background this time it's more purple and blue. Sometimes I also love to add green or yellow, but this time I managed to do it with just two shades. It also a little bit shiny because I used methyl Posca pen. In June I started a lot of new books, and I started books by Teresa Goodrich. I have Village Charm, which was a recent present, and I also started Wish You Were Here, which I have already for several months. Maybe let's start with Wish You Were Here. Here I decided that my first destination will be Venice. I love Venice architecture, I love everything there, but I found that if I manage to do architecture, the water isn't as easy as I supposed to be to color it. Here I struggled a lot. I really wanted to catch the reflection of all those buildings into the surface of the water. I don't know if I managed or not, but the biggest struggle was to select proper color for the water, because sometimes channels they can be more greenish, sometimes they have more clear blue water, and I struggled a lot. In the end I have a blend of green and blue. I decided that in front of the gondola I will put some highlights on the surface of the water to show that we have nice sunny day. Behind of the gondola I have deep shadow from the dark color of the boat. So water it's far from perfect, but it gave me another lesson. I know that I need to practice more, but I know that I also learned something new, and I am glad that I started it. Page in Village Charm I love a little bit more. I think that I was more successful here simply because I colored more familiar things. Here we mostly have the wooden texture, a lot of wood on the floor, on the walls, on the columns, and even on the furniture. I really tried to color everything without very bright colors, just a couple of bright spots. Everything else is more muted, calm, nice atmosphere of the sunny day again here. So this one was very pleasant to color, and I think that during summer I will try to do more from this book, because if I can't have any holidays, any summer trips, then I will be traveling virtually using pictures from this book. As usual, I color here with Prismacolors and Posca pens, nothing fancy. In Venice picture I also added polychromos Venetian red, just to be inspired from the name of this beautiful shade of muted red. Another books which I finally started, that's Dragon Nouveau by Herb Leonhardt and Fairy Tales by Marty Noble. And in both books I used Sucolor pencils. Among all my budget sets, Sucolors are probably my favorites. I prefer them more comparing to Starjoy, I prefer them more comparing to Arteza pencils. And here I will try to show you what they are capable for. Here I selected a very fun page with this dragon in the wine cellar. For the dragon I selected green colors. As usual, my camera it hates greens, so probably on the screen it will be excessively bright, but in real life this dragon has quite pleasant green color, and I achieved it using color pencils. I also decided that I want to test how my Derwent color salts would behave on this paper, so not very significant parts like the uh, stone walls of the cellar or sky I did with color softs. They are also not bad and you can use them for the bigger areas. So something very simple, but it helped me to have some fun time, because all pictures in this book they are very positive. Those dragons they are so funny and good looking, they are always in good mood, they are always smiling, so I am really happy that finally I have possibility to color dragon. I missed coloring dragons. And in the book by Martin Noble, it was difficult to select which one will be my first page. Here I decided to start from the ugly duckling. Very colorful. I absolutely love the result which I got, and as I said, this picture I colored mostly with color pencils, so you can see that they are good for Creative Haven paper. They can be bright, they also have pleasant pastel colors, and of course I used Posca and Tule art markers to outline some of the flowers, to add some texture to the grass. On the grass I also added a little bit of acrylic paint. Here. I'm glad that I finally started this book. I don't know, maybe I will color something in it in July, or maybe I will concentrate on finishing Fairy Tales by Selina Fenech, which I neglected in June. Next, I want to show you my beautiful Captain Molly Morgan, which I started in the end of the May. I did her skin, her bright hair, and in June I finally finished the background. Nothing fancy on the background, but I tried to do something different from her friend Pretty Pirate Polly, so I didn't want to have similar pages. I think that she is somewhere on the Caribbean islands, so we have very bright sky, beautiful color of the water, blue with a little bit of turquoise blue. So I think that I can consider it as one of my successful colorings. You know how much I love pictures from Just Mine books, so each time when I start, I don't want to mess up really, but I enjoy each of the moment when I do them, and usually I am very happy with the results. Somehow in these books I usually color without huge problems, without huge struggle with the color choices, and this one also was quite easy coloring. I think that color which I selected for her skirt, for her eyes, creates quite interesting combo with the color of her hair. I wanted to try this unusual color for a long time, and finally I found a strong person where this hair color definitely will be quite suitable for, and I think that I like it a lot. It's a pity that I don't have any other pirate girls in this book. I would love to continue this series. Well, and the only remaining pictures are from the books by Kirby Rosanes. Kirby recently is my total favorite in coloring books. Unfortunately, I wasn't able to color in Walt Within Walls, even if I really wanted to color the dinosaur, but in Fragile World I spent huge amount of time to finish my spread with iguanas. the iguana spread I did with pencils only, and from the size of it you can imagine how long it took me to finish it. But I think that each moment it was worth it. I really love that I was a little bit experimental in the color for the clouds, color for the water, even for those stones. Before I started this spread, and I started it again in May, and I did sky and clouds in May. So I saw a documentary about this interesting creatures and about Galapagos Island, unique part of the world where they had a huge transformation from being creatures which live only on the earth, but with centuries they had to transform to be underwater creatures, because on those stones which have volcanic origin, there is no food, nothing grows on such volcanic stones. But on the underwater level they have a lot of seaweeds, and they had to adjust and to learn how to swim. They transformed their body, and it was absolutely amazing story. Of course, I was happy when I remembered that I actually have picture which I can color according to this documentary. Here I had some doubts regarding color for the body of iguana, but again I was inspired by very unusual colors which we can actually see on these creatures. They indeed have mix of orange, green colors together with almost black and brown color for the body. So here each and every part was carefully colored. I thought carefully about all my color choices, and I definitely think that I'm proud of this work. Well, in this book we have a lot of pictures where we have some dramatic clouds, where we have water, where we have underwater area, and I try to color all those areas at least slightly different one from another. This is my main work, this is one of my older works, so I try to use different pencil combos, to use different pencil brands. Sometimes I use watercolors, and I think that as my next project I also will select one of the spreads, but probably I will take break from the water and I will do something, maybe monkeys or maybe lemurs. And finally, my new biggest love, Mythic World by Kirby Razanes. I even made video about what are my 10 favorite pictures in this book, and as my starting project I selected one of them. It's this very positive Kubera god. He is a god of wealth and prosperity. You can clearly see it from all those beautiful things which surround him. And from the beginning I knew that he will have golden yellow skin and maybe even golden clothes. In Chinese culture and in other Asian cultures, as far as I know, yellow quite often considered as a color of wealth, prosperity, so it was quite suitable here. I experimented with various yellow shades and brown shades of polychromos pencils. I mostly used polychromos here, apart from couple of shades of Prismacolors which I needed for the sky and clouds. So polychromos mostly here. And I think that I even hadn't used my Posca pens. In this book somehow I don't bother to mask black lines. I think that they suit the style of Kirby Razanes. If needed on clouds I use a little bit of acrylic paint to make them more fluffy. But here everything is so beautifully done that to color this one it was really very easy. And I wanted to start the left side of the spread because this one, it's also spectacularly beautiful, but probably I was intimidated by all those tiny ornaments. So instead I selected more simplified and more familiar to me legend. It was from Egyptian mythology, and here we have Isis. I think that I already colored Isis in book by Marty Noble, in the book Goddesses. I also plan to color Isis in my book by Coco Vayo, another portrait of Isis. So it was fun to do the same person from different artists. Here I opted for the very simple black background. Sometimes black background is classical and perfect choice without any additional things. I was thinking about adding stars or a very important Orion, important for Egyptian culture. But then I decided that she is already so highly ornamented, very nicely decorated, that at least the background it can be nice and simple. Again, everything is made with polychromos pencils. I think that I just used one orange color here from Prismacolors just to blend better. So polychromoses definitely are very helpful when you need to color all those tiny things. Here I used Posca pens where I needed to add highlights, and I also finally was able to use my Ohuhu felty pens. They are helpful when you need to color tiny ornaments, those hieroglyphs or other details which it's not very easy to color with pencils. So these felty pens also helped me a little bit. I used classical color combo which you can find in each and every Egyptian jewelry. All those various shades of yellow brown for the gold, then orange red, blue, cobalt and a little bit of blue green. And together I think that they create classical Egyptian palette. Again, it wasn't complicated. I spent some time on doing all the elements, but I don't see any faults here, any areas where I struggled or which I would like to change. So I think that my beginning in this book it was quite successful. Of course, I plan to color more in July, but honestly I haven't decided yet which will be my next page from this book. Thank you for looking at the June results. It wasn't much, but many of these pictures I absolutely love. I'm glad that I switched between different pencil brands, between pencils and watercolors. I think that in July I need to color something using Neocolor crayons. I absolutely miss them, and I'm glad that I finally have this set back. Well, I hope that in July I will be able to color at least similar amount of pictures, even if, as I said, now I feel not very active and creative. Thank you for your support. I hope that you will go to Instagram and that you will see all beautiful pictures with sunflowers. And I hope to see you very soon in my next videos.